One player showed up to the World Championship blackout drunk and won. Another was so slow,
2,000 years later.
They installed a countdown clock on the stage. One guy's dart landed in a spot so controversial, officials had to bring in instant replay cameras. And one player got so dominant, the league literally rewrote the rules just to stop him. These are the players who broke darts and forced it to change forever. Let's start with the biggest one. Phil Taylor didn't just dominate darts, he made the sport boring. And when you're so good you're killing your own sport, something has to change. In the 1990s, Taylor was working in a ceramics factory, throwing darts at his local pub after work. Just a regular guy. Then, something clicked. In his first year as a pro, he won the World Championship. Beginner's luck? He won it 16 times. A normal pro averages about 85 to 90 points per throw. Taylor was hitting 105 to 110 consistently. That's like LeBron scoring 50 points every game for 20 years straight. He was hitting 9 dart finishes, perfect games, so often that bookmakers stopped taking bets on it. When the gambling industry gives up on you, you know you're a problem. Matches were ending in 15 minutes. Fans were paying for tickets, and the final was over before they finished their first beer. The sport wasn't dying because it was bad. It was dying because one man was too good. So between 2007 and 2010, the PDC stepped in. They extended matches, added more legs, restructured set formats, anything to give other players a fighting chance. Phil Taylor was so dominant, they had to redesign the entire competition around him. And even though Taylor's retired, those extended formats are still in place today. His shadow still hangs over the game. Taylor made matches too short. Jockey Wilson made them unbearably long. Wilson was a chain-smoking, heavy-drinking Scottish legend, 2-time world champion. You'd never guess it looking at him, but his biggest issue wasn't skill. It was speed. This man took 30 seconds between throws. Doesn't sound like much? Multiply that by over 100 throws per match. A 45-minute game turned into 3 hours. Fans were walking out mid-match, paying money to watch a man stand still. So the PDC did something radical. They introduced the shot clock. You get a set amount of time to throw your dart or you lose your turn. Imagine being so slow at your job, they install a countdown timer to force you to work faster. Old school players hated it, but the PDC didn't back down. Matches started ending in disqualifications because players couldn't adjust. Wilson was furious. He showed up to a tournament, ignored the clock, and played at his own pace. When officials threatened to disqualify him, he stared down the tournament director and said if they enforce this, half the legends would walk out. Bold move from a man holding a dart and a cigarette. Eventually, the PDC modified the rules, extending the clock to 25 to 30 seconds for certain events and making exceptions for high-pressure championship throws. But the shot clock itself, still there. Now, the next two players caused equipment and scoring controversies that the PDC never saw coming. And honestly, the last one on this list might be the craziest of all. Wilson's problem was pace. John Lowe's problem was that his darts wouldn't stay in the board. In 1984, something strange started happening. Lowe's darts were bouncing out at an insane rate. The average pro has a 2 to 3% bounce out rate. John Lowe was sitting at 12 to 15%. Lowe was using heavier precision-engineered tungsten darts, the most advanced technology at the time. Not the cheap brass set collecting dust in your dad's garage. These were serious, but the boards hadn't caught up. Traditional sisal fiber boards simply couldn't handle the impact. Dart technology had outpaced board technology. An entire sport's equipment was obsolete, and nobody noticed until a world-class player's dart started hitting the floor on live television. The league was forced to create new board standards. Manufacturers developed higher density sisal boards that could handle modern darts. A simple fix, but it took a pro embarrassing the sport on live TV before anyone bothered. Lowe's darts couldn't stay in the board. Kevin Painter's dart stayed in the board just fine. The problem was, nobody could agree where it landed. Painter was climbing the ranks fast with an unorthodox throwing style. Quick, accurate, dangerous. Then in a major semifinal, everything fell apart. His dart hit the board at such a bizarre angle that it landed in the treble 20, but the tip was visibly hanging over the treble 5 wire. Was it the treble 20 or treble 5? Painter argued it should count where the dart initially hit. The problem? Nobody had ever defined what happens in that situation. The old rule was simple: where it sticks, it counts. But this dart was stuck in 2 places at once. Commentators couldn't agree. The crowd couldn't agree. The officials couldn't agree. The scoring rules simply weren't built for it. So, the PDC brought in high-definition cameras and instant replay for disputed scores. The rules now state a dart must be clearly within a segment to count, with officials having final say after video review. One throw at a weird angle, and suddenly darts needs the same replay technology as the NFL. Painter broke the scoring system. Andy Fordham broke something harder to fix: the sport's credibility. Fordham weighed over 440 pounds, was nicknamed the Viking, and his pre-game routine included drinking 24 bottles of beer and a bottle of brandy. Not over the weekend, before each match. In 2004, he won the BDO World Championship final against Mervyn King. By his own admission, he was drunk the entire tournament. On live television, in front of millions of people. He later said he'd been drinking since 10 in the morning on the day of the final, with a line of beers and brandies waiting for him at the bar before he even stepped on stage. And he still won 6-3. How was this allowed? There were no substance regulations. Drinking wasn't just tolerated in darts, it was part of the culture. Nobody questioned it because everybody did it, until the cameras got bigger and the sponsors started watching. Months later, in a Champion of Champions match against Phil Taylor, Fordham nearly collapsed on stage. He was sweating so badly they thought it was an asthma attack. It wasn't. It was years of drinking catching up with him on live TV. Major companies were threatening to pull funding. You can't market a professional sport when your world champion can barely stand at the hockey. So the PDC introduced regulations around player conduct and substance use during televised events. Players couldn't show up blackout drunk to championship matches anymore. One man's pregame routine forced an entire sport to grow up. If you're enjoying these stories, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I cover the wildest stories in darts every week, and trust me, it only gets crazier from here. Fordham damaged the sport's image of the hockey. These next players damaged it on it. And at a certain point, it stopped being competition and started becoming chaos. Adrian Lewis was known for trash talk. He'd yell during opponents' throws, make faces, cough loudly, and step into their line of sight during crucial moments. It got so bad that Raymond Van Barneveld threatened to settle things outside, in a parking lot, at a professional darts tournament. Then came Gerwin Price. I'm here to win, not make friends. In the 2021 World Championship Final, Price hit the winning double against Gary Anderson and erupted. What started as a celebration turned into 30 seconds of screaming directly in his opponent's face. The referee had to physically step between them. The next day, the PDC issued a formal fine of £1,000 and announced new celebration guidelines. When the referees have to teach you manners, you've crossed a line. He'd scream in opponents' faces after hitting 180s. Aggressive celebrations, constant intimidation. Officials had to pull him aside and explain he was making the sport look bad on national television. The PDC had enough. They created a formal conduct committee to review unsportsmanlike behavior. Behavior guidelines, crowd conduct rules, fines, suspensions. Gerwin Price himself has been fined multiple times. And what finally got players to fall in line? When officials told them the sponsors were watching. Money talks, even in darts. 6 players, 6 rule changes, from extended formats to shot clocks, equipment standards to instant replay, substance regulations to conduct committees. Every single one of these rules exists because one player pushed the sport past its breaking point. And that's the thing about darts. It looks simple from the outside, but behind every rule in the book, there's a story of someone who forced it to be written. And the scary part? The sport is still changing. Because somewhere out there, there's a player about to break a rule that doesn't exist yet. And when that happens, you'll hear about it here. Now, some of these players didn't just change the rules. They also racked up more titles than anyone thought possible. I broke down the players who've won the most PDC titles of all time, and some of the names on that list will genuinely surprise you. That one's right here, and if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do.